Hey everybody. So continuing on this theme, but we're going to take it a slightly different direction. I'm going to get really personal here and bring up sexuality. And one of the things is talking about admiration and modeling. Really what it is we're looking like what are the models, the existing models in this world. And so getting straight into it, when I met really spiritual people growing up in my life, when I saw people who were into self-empowerment and all of those things like that, sometimes sexuality would come up. Sometimes it'd be like, yeah, express yourself, then you'll get the love and the sex you want or the other things or whatever it is they said, whatever. It's just, what I noticed is that anytime people were getting really, really spiritual, it's like their sexuality started to become tame. The expression of their sexuality started to become tame. And I don't know if maybe in the bedroom it was more exciting than the way they expressed it, but all of a sudden it was like they didn't want to say stuff like, I want to fuck you, or, like, oh my God, look at that girl's ass, or anything like that. And it was more like, oh, she's beautiful. And yes, when our energies combine, it's this and that. And yeah, the energies combining is a real thing, but so is the bumping and grinding and all just being nasty and primal and everything like that. And so what I've noticed is that combination of someone openly being really, really spiritual and openly being really primally dirty, freaky, sexual, it seems to be a rare thing. Well, what I'm saying is that since I didn't grow up seeing that kind of model, well, I'm that, okay? And so when I talk about admiration, when I saw all kinds of spiritual people that I admired their development and maybe their energy or their discipline or things like that. But what always bothered me was that their sexuality seemed to be tamed or held back or diluted, or some of the dirty, nasty, freaky, fun stuff like that seemed to be fizzled out. And that just seemed weird to me. It seemed unnatural. I mean, can you imagine somebody coming, let's say, on a stage and talking about spirituality and self-development, and then going, someone saying, so like, as a spiritual guy, what type of women do you like? And now imagine someone coming out, so now this is me, coming out and going, well, physically, I like a brown-skinned girl, and I like her ass to be really round and big and full. And wow, you really like that? Yeah, because, I like a girl to sit on my face, and when she sits on my face, well, then basically it's like all nice and soft and I can get into it. And you know what? Then I don't hear anything because the cheeks cover my ears, okay? And then it's like I'm in this beautiful meditative place, and that's the deep spiritual stuff for me, And during sex, all the cheeks jiggling and everything, especially from behind, things like that. So, when I was growing up and admiring some of these really spiritual people, I never heard anybody say something like that. So now you just heard me say it. You just heard a really spiritual guy go on and say, yeah, I can openly talk about sexuality and interest and being primal. And that's just natural. That's just totally natural. And I think that this is one of the things that I've felt for a long time has needed to change in terms of people's images and ideas of what's acceptable, what somebody who's spiritual is. And to me, spirituality is being our 100% authentic self, where all aspects of ourself flourish, get expressed, and that's it. So all of our sexuality, in whatever form it is, it being expressed is part of our spirituality. And that as we go up higher and higher on the energetic scale, what I've found is that aspects of me get stronger. My nature has gotten stronger. So you know what? As I've become more spiritual, I've become more sexual. So like, let's say the aspect of me that I would call, let's say, a freaky guy has become more freaky. It's like when you are open even more deeply to the spiritual energies inside of you, what you're saying, it's like you're powering up, like in Dragon Ball Z, it's like the Super Saiyan. So now all aspects of you are magnified and are energized. And so I'm a free man. I'm a free being. I can express whatever I want to express. And I'm giving you guys an example of a model of a guy who can be totally spiritual, and I am totally spiritual, but I'm a natural man and I'm a freaky sexual guy, and I'm open to talking about it. And I think that this is one of those things that I know growing up I thought sorely lacked in a lot of spiritual presentations. And so when I mentioned admiring people, so there were certain spiritual qualities I admired, but this is what I'm impressing upon you guys, how sometimes take certain qualities that you like from someone you admire, but it doesn't mean you have to be pigeonholed into the rest of their qualities that they're showing. You're free to actually add in all your own other qualities that you like. Okay, maybe just take one thing from that element that you like. So that's what I've done, and this, you know, and my sexuality flourishes with everything else and being who I am. And so there you go. That's how I've developed me, and this is part of the freaky ass spiritual channel that you have that you're watching. So enjoy.